keep their income down if they're going to go on the Affordable Care Act, because we don't want them pulling out of an IRA or 401 or turning on Social Security and then all of a sudden they're going to pay $1,000 a month instead of $200 a month for their Affordable Care Act plan. So of course Medicare doesn't work that way. So it's not income based unless you're a higher income. Then you can pay more for Part B, right, Matt?
Yep, and that's why I like to sum it up. We're planners. That's what we do.
You are planners. Just so you know, full disclosure, a $1,000 fine I was just issued because on the Daily Dodge TV version, I forgot to turn the audio on the TV version of the show. So people were lip reading there for the first 60 seconds of the show.
Really?
That's a $1,000 fine.
What?
Oh.
Do I write the check out to you?
No.
No,
I wouldn't charge you $1,000.
Oh, okay. We're good now. So if you're watching on Daily Dodge TV and it was silent, that was my fault for the first 60 seconds. So Heiar Insurance, the Sandy Heiar is here. Matt Heiar is here. And Matt, we were talking last week, though, about this is just like, busiest time of the year for what you're doing and signing people up and making sure their plans and everything are good for the next 365 days.
Yep, and tis the season, and even people that are coming in, they're like, wow, you guys are busy. And yeah, it's just, this is the time to review your insurance, just to make sure everything's ready to go for next year. So October 15th to December 7th is our Medicare enrollment period for Advantage plans and drug plans. But even if you don't have an Advantage plan or a drug plan, and you have a supplement, it's time to review that also, because those start getting pricey too, and we don't want to set ourselves up for next year and getting another increase and being like, uh-oh, what do I do now? So now is your time to come on in, give us a call, 920-887-0580, and we can, Jill is standing by. Hopefully. She's probably busy right now, but because we left her hanging.
Yeah. I'm just looking, Matt, sideways at you, and you're looking straight ahead. I see some gray hairs.
Wow.
He's got hair to be gray.
Yeah.
Well, I color mine. So
I would never have noticed. Now, one thing when we talked last week was we were talking about how people get bombarded with information. And since Matt mentioned that to me, I noticed that TV and radio commercials, that I'm like, I didn't realize how many of these are playing right now. I was watching one last night, and it was like a 3-minute commercial break, and I was watching Pawn Stars. Mm-hmm. It was like a 3-minute commercial break. It was just one ad, the full 3 minutes, with some guy in a suit talking about the 2 different plans and then their plan and checking boxes and hitting the phone number. And I can see how it can be daunting because you see a million different ones of these, and you're like, well, this guy looks like he knows what he's talking about. I guess I'm picking up the phone, and I'm just going to make a phone call, and I'm going to sign up, and I'm going to be good.
Yeah.
They dangle a lot of carrots, but you have to remember they're state specific.
Yes.
And they're county specific.
Mm-hmm.
So people don't realize that when they're saying you may get this, that doesn't mean it's even available in Wisconsin or in Dodge County or Fond du Lac County, wherever you are. So we have to be really careful with that.
And that's why Heiar Insurance, you're local, you can get in, you can talk to you on the phone, you can visit face to face, and you can kind of really work through the plan, not just dial a number and have somebody say, okay, this is what you want, give me your information. Because that's probably what some people can do, can't they? Is that how that works if you answer like a TV ad or something like that?
Oh, yeah. Well,
800 number, they transfer you to an insurance company, an insurance agent. It might be in Arizona, it might be in Florida, who knows?
Bucksnort, Tennessee, it could be there.
Could be.
So, but having somebody local, obviously, here to help you out, it's a peace of mind, isn't it?
It really is, and that's a lot of because they always have a twist to their marketing every year, and like this year, I noticed that a lot of the commercials and radio commercials that we're hearing is what we call dual eligible plans. So that's when you're on Medicare and Medicaid, which is low income, and people get those confused a lot, but those plans typically have more benefits, like groceries and stuff, that's over-the-counter items. Mm-hmm. And so a lot of people are like, wow, those plans typically have more benefits because it's for someone with low income. So they're coming in saying, well, I want that, and that's where it's right away. You'll call that number, you give them your zip code, and they'll say, what's your income? And they'll say, you're not eligible, but
we have this.
We have this, this, and this, and that's where people, they just want to get you on the phone. That's the main thing.
Advertising the most comprehensive plan with zero copays that you can get. Mm-hmm. And people are like, wow, that would work for me. Uh-huh, yeah. Then once you make that phone call, if you're not on Medicaid with your Medicare, no, it's not going to happen.
Mm-hmm. So, again, people have questions. Now, you said we're heading down when's the deadline again?
December 7th.
So that's not that far. What we think about next week, next week's like the week before Thanksgiving. people get busy. And then the
Oh,
week of
yes.
Thanksgiving, you just cross that week off completely, right? Because you're out, thawing turkeys and, thinking about putting your Christmas lights up if you haven't done it already. Going to Black Friday, going to Small Business Saturday, and next thing you know, it's first week of December. You're worried about the parade, and next thing you know, oh my gosh, I'm not done. What do I do?
That's right.
And we do have procrastinators. So,
Yes.
yes, if you want your drug plans run, give us a call. We need an updated list. So this was another thing just to help out, our office is a lot of people are just going to their pharmacy or their doctor's office and saying, can I have a medication list? Well, that's every medication you ever took.
In your
For the
life?
whole year.
Yes.
For the
Oh,
whole
for the
year,
year.
for
Yeah,
sure.
so we want to know, like, okay, hey, which one are you taking every day? Which one are you concerned about being covered next year and wanting to know the copays? Because if we just put everyone in, it could pop up a completely different plan, and
Okay.
then it's not really factual for moving into next year. So if you could really do that, you can get that list from them. That's fine, but then cross off the ones that you're not taking anymore, or the ones that you only need that for a dental appointment. It's not as concerning as the ones you're taking every day.
So it's the daily ones that you have to make sure you have covered and mentioned. If you got a cold and they gave you some sort of Cillin, or some-
Yep.
Yes, we
some-
don't need to put that in there like
you just need to know the ones that are keeping you upright.
Exactly.
Yes, the current medication list is what we need.
Okay.
Because otherwise, we're trying to cross off no over the counter. We don't need that because that's not covered.
So it's just one of the steps that people need to take as they make this journey through their time. And so what is the process like? Once you decide on a plan, do you just enter it in a computer and hit send, and then you're good, or what do people have to do then?
So basically, you give us that medication list, and then because everyone calls and says, "I want to set up an appointment."
Sure.
And it's like if we don't have this medication list, it takes us a while to run these drug plans, So, or we're basically just coming in and I'm trying to run them quick, and try to talk to you, and I'm not good at multitasking, so everything just takes longer. So if we can run them prior to talking to you, because we might call you back and say, "Do nothing. You're on the best plan for next year," So we didn't need an appointment. So that's where, we want to run them first to see. And a lot of times, since, they're not accepting, agents, we'll just say, hey, do you want us to click enroll for you and, sign up? And people are like, absolutely, let's do it. And then we switch them, because they're meant to review every year, but not necessarily switch.
Okay.
So, and that's the main thing, if I can save you $20 for next year, probably not worth switching, getting new cards, a new company. So it's all relevant. So it's a fluid situation. We want to make sure, whatever makes the most sense for you, that's what we do. But we got to get those lists in because we're getting down to about 3 weeks, roughly, right? We got, a couple more weeks of, I can't believe we're talking about Thanksgiving already.
Because Thanksgiving's the last week. It's late
It's
this year.
later,
It's
yes.
because I know the 30th is the Slam at the Dam for Beaver Dam boys basketball. That's on a Saturday, so it's the 28th is Thanksgiving this year.
Yes, so I think December, and then December 7th.
It's the next week.
Yes, and it ends on a Saturday.
Yes. So what does that mean?
Oh, that means we work Saturday.
So it's not like they push it to Monday like the government does.
Oh,
Nope.
no,
So you have
no.
to have it in and
We do.
and
By
and
midnight.
get it done by. So what happens if you're not in by like midnight on Saturday? What would happen? You just wouldn't be enrolled for 2025.
No, you roll over in the same plan you're
okay.
currently
So
in.
that's what it does.
Yes, whether
So-
you like it or not.
Yeah. So then you're just kind of into that, and then that could end up being, could that be a thousands of dollars type of thing, depending
Possibly.
on what happened?
Yeah, it could be pretty drastic, but unless you had some really, drastic medication changes, it's probably going to be somewhat
Okay.
similar. So it's not the end of the world, but at the same time, if you want that warm, fuzzy feeling, the peace of mind moving into next year, definitely drop off your drug list, or give us a call where we can review your, plan you have and your pros and cons of it, and does it make sense to stick with what you got for next year?
What happens if I don't have a plan and it doesn't get done by like the 7th? You know what I'm saying? Like if I'm new to the thing and I just was kind of like sleeping on it, what happens? You just have to wait a year?
Well, yeah, I mean, like,
I just was curious because I didn't,
You have to have a special election
Yeah,
to get
but
on
it's-
during the year.
Okay.
So if you don't have that, you're not going to get a
So
plan.
obviously if you're hitting, and what are the ages that people need? Like somebody's sitting here right now and they didn't really think about it. What ages are we talking?
So all my 1959ers, fall babies, and December babies and November babies, yeah, we need to talk to you. And then we're already moving on to our 1960ers, which is, January, February, March. We're already, discussing Medicare options with them and, getting the game plan going. But the sooner you come in, the better, because that's when we can actually have a game plan. A lot of people are coming in and we just have to rush everything because we have to rely on the government to sign you up for these, the Medicare A and B, and there's certain paperwork if we delay our Part B. So there is, it's not a quick process, and that's the one thing we can't control. I can sign you up for insurance once that's all done the day before, like December 31st for a January 1st start date. I can control that. I can get you temporary cards, policy numbers. I cannot control the government. I wish I could.
You can. We're talking with Matt and Sandy Heiar Insurance Senior Solutions here on 95.3 WBEV and Daily Dodge TV. If you have a question, you can text us at 920-887-9595 or give us a call at 920-885-4446. And Wally will get you on the air, or else text it along. And I brought my computer today. I feel like I'm important. So somebody sends a text, I'll have it right here to share with you immediately, because I know people do have questions, and sometimes maybe they don't want to call and they haven't made the appointment with you yet, but you can answer any kind of questions, at least roughly over the air, without knowing the specific, because everybody's story is a little bit different, right?
Absolutely.
No. I asked Matt last year. Matt, you said like 6 years you've been doing this, 6, 7?
Yeah, something like that.
So Sandy, you've been doing it a little longer than Matt.
Yes.
A couple years more.
A couple years more. So how has this whole process changed from when you started doing it back probably? How long have you been doing this? Can I ask?
Oh, about 25 years.
Okay, so how long has that? You started when you were like 10 years old, huh?
Yes.
Oh, listen to this guy.
No, but how has it changed even in that 25-year span? So that would have been late Clinton era or early George Bush era.
George
where
Bush,
we're at here.
yes.
So how has it changed between now and then?
Well, we did not have drug plans.
Okay.
No Part Ds. We did not have Medicare Advantage plans. We pretty much had supplements. So
Okay.
I traveled the entire state telling people about Medicare, explaining Medicare, and signing them up for a Medicare supplement, and I left. There's really no customer service
Okay.
work with a Medicare supplement. So people I never really saw for a long time, unless they had an issue, they would call me. But yeah, and then gradually we ended up with the Medicare Advantage plans. Well, when I worked up north, I used Medicare Advantage plans. Down here, they were not here yet. So it was kind of by area.
Also, they kind of slowly but surely got rolled in region by region.
Absolutely. And we didn't have all the commercials that we have now.
Yeah,
I mean,
yeah.
not anything near. And they were very particular about us writing a Medicare Advantage plan and the advertising. We couldn't advertise anything Medicare Advantage. We could advertise Medicare supplements.
Okay.
But yeah, they were very strict about that. And they still are to this day, aren't they, Matt?
Oh, absolutely. I mean, even when you have, like, if you're doing like a seminar, and it's you're preaching that it's educational, you cannot discuss a plan, you cannot discuss a company. If you have
Benefits.
if you have gifts there, it can't exceed
$15.
$15. I mean, it's total government. The supplements are more privatized, so it's not as much restriction on talking about them.
Okay, so
But in our office,
Yes.
if you come in our office, we can compare all of the plans because we're at a one-on-one setting in our office with an appointment, and we have a scope of appointments signed. When we're in a seminar like that and it's educational, that's all we can do is educate people. We can't discuss any type of benefits. So it's really more advantageous to come in, sit down, and go, we can show you a lot more.
So do you participate in seminars, or is it more the companies who have the plans that put on the seminars?
I used to do an educational
Okay.
seminar once a month at Marine Park.
Okay.
Oh yes. Oh.
Every month.
Well, because people probably
At
have
night.
questions, and they can just show up, but they have to be pretty broad and generic there. And
Well, we could teach them about Medicare and getting on it. We could tell them how the Medicare Advantage plans work, what's A and B and what's C and D. So we could go through all the basics, preparing them for when they got on Medicare. Most of the people that came were still working at that time. So
Okay.
it was fun. It was fun. But, now it's so busy, and I'm kind of like working the 7 o'clock night thing, and so it would be Matt that would do them. We did it with Rob. I invited Rob to join us too, so Rob would give a little estate planning, about at the seminar as well. So that was nice.
Yeah, and it just kind of stopped after COVID, because we couldn't meet with people in person, and then it just never picked back up.
Yeah, we never started again. I don't know why.
Yeah.
And it was at Marine Park. It was nice and convenient, and we had people travel from all around within an hour.
because it is one of those things where, again, we always have talked to people. Sometimes it's a little daunting, a little scary for people. They know it's coming up, and any kind of information that they can get, and you see trusted faces in front of them telling them how it goes, probably makes them feel a little bit easier, and then you can go make an appointment and get the old nuts and bolts and already hammer something down by making an individual appointment at the Heiar Insurance.
And they did turn into appointments, a lot of them, you know, especially if they were getting close or had a lot of questions. As you said before, there's no way we could really get personalized by someone's situation, but people would stay after and say, "Can I just talk to you for a minute?" You know, and then they might bring up some personal items, but.
Yeah, because I was always that person. If I went to a seminar, I wasn't raising my hand. Any questions? I'd be like, I do have a question, but I don't know, public settings. And now here I'm on Daily Dodge TV. But yeah, it's a little different. But yeah, that basically it's a lot easier when people are just coming in because they have their list of questions. You know, we can answer, you know, anything they need, and, you know, they don't feel like everyone's watching them, or because every person that comes in to talks about Medicare, Social Security, retirement, they're like, this may be a dumb question. And realistically, there's no such thing as that, because they don't teach us this kind of stuff. You know, they don't teach us how to retire, when to turn on Social Security, how to do the steps of Medicare, what's the best plan for me. You know, and it's different for every person. So that's why I can't give you a cookie cutter answer, which I actually like, because or else my job would be kind of boring.
Yeah, everyone's situation is
Yeah,
different.
everyone
so it is
sign up
nice.
for Plan A. It's like, no, it doesn't work that way. So that's why it's very unique. It's controlled chaos, but we're making it work. You know.
Well, and I think a lot of times I feel sorry for the HR people, because they get asked all these questions, and that's a huge responsibility. You know, do I do this? What should I do? Do I take Medicare? You know, so we work with a lot of the HRs from companies in the area. So they have they're like, call Matt and Sandy, and they'll walk you through what you should do in your situation, because they don't want to give advice when they're not doing it every day. And I understand, but who do you think gets all the questions? They do, and that's very stressful for them.
I know they called us. Well, there was one that called us last week, and they're like, "Well, I'm not even on Medicare. I don't know how to answer these questions," and I don't blame them. It's, you know, it's one of those things where it's like all you hear what, you know, your friends say, but it's like the telephone game.
Yep.
You know, everything can get, you know, misconstrued. So it's scary, you know, for some people. But that's where, you know, we just walk you through it. Deal with the government stuff first. Talk about because the government says we're just going to penalize you, and they're lifetime penalties, so you better do it right. And that's startling, you know, to hear about that. So that's why it's easier just one-on-one. Come on in, schedule an appointment, and we'll kind of go over the things and see if we'd even need to sign up for Medicare, or maybe we are going to keep working and stay on our group insurance. So that's why there isn't a right answer, because so many people are like, yo, I got to sign up. And I'm like, no, technically you don't. And they're like, no, my neighbor said I have to. And it's like, yes, if you weren't working, you would definitely have to sign up, you know. And so that's why it's so situational, and just hearing it from us. Because I always tell people, you can yell at me if it's wrong then, you know, and that kind of gives them a little peace of mind knowing like, okay, all right, at least I have someone I can yell at if it's wrong. And so far, no one's been penalized in my watch, but knock on wood.
This is more like I don't know how to describe this. There's wood underneath it.
Yes.
In our studio here. You are listening to Senior Solutions with Sandy and Matt Heiar from Heiar Insurance on 95.3 WBEV and Daily Dodge TV. If you have any questions, you can give us a call at 920-885-4446 or send us a text 920-887-9595. Now, when you said you have people coming in, you know, some people are like, I have a dumb question. Do you get people both ends of the spectrum? Probably there are people that come in, like would be me, who would be very novice and not know much at all and have basic questions. Are there people that come in that almost feel like they know their plans better than you guys do?
But they could sell it, yes.
when it comes to when they know every nook and cranny of where their medication's going, how much they're going, and what it costs, and they have it all down pat, and you're just hitting the button.
The only time we really deal with that is like when it's like their spouse is already on
Sure.
Medicare and they did the research and they did it themselves, but then the other spouse is like, well, I want to go see someone, you know, and then of course that spouse comes with them.
Mm-hmm.
And they're like, well, I picked this, you know, I went with this, you know, and I'm like, oh, great, you know, and I'm not here to bash your decision or anything like that, you know, but like there's just certain things you should know when it comes to Medicare, like, hey, if you take that Advantage plan and you want to go to a supplement, you understand that there's going to be health questions, you know, in a health screening, and people are like, well, I didn't know that, you know, and it's like that, you know, just important things like that. That doesn't mean to fearmonger you to take a supplement, but this is factual information that you should probably know, you know. So a guy with a suitcase full of Advantage plans coming to your door, maybe it's even my favorite Advantage plan that's in our county, great, but he's probably not going to tell you that, oh, you might have to get underwriting to go to a supplement if you want to change. And, stuff like that where that scares me. If I see it at the grocery store, I want to make sure you know that kind of stuff. Right. What do you
One-stop shopping, right? Just like Walmart, you come in and we have all the different plans and all the different options, and our job is to educate you. And then it's your decision from there. So it works, right? If you're educated, you can make an informed decision on what's going to work for you or your spouse or your household, whatever you're doing.
Now, is that one of the cases too, where sometimes you get spouses come in, husband and wives, for example, and they come in and we both want the same plan, but it might not work for, right? Is it each individual person? It's like, okay, person A's got this, person B's got this. We just both want it. It's like everything's like separate, isn't it?
Well, yeah, people are used to
Yeah.
being on their group plans
Yeah,
together.
yes.
So they come in and they're like, we both want this. And I'm like, oh, it's separate policies. They're like, well, why is that? I'm like, because everyone's on their own for Medicare. But I will say most people do take the same plan,
Okay.
husband and wife.
What would cause a husband and wife to maybe have to do separate plans or separate things?
I will answer that question after the disclaimer.
Okay, the opinions expressed on this show are that of Heiar Insurance, Matt Heiar, not necessarily those of Good Karma Brands Broadcasting.
That was well played.
I kind of butchered that
A little bit, but
that,
it was
You got
almost
to
like
the point.
it's almost like the McAfee show. Like,
Yeah.
don't sue us.
okay. The opinions expressed on this program are that of Heiar Insurance and not necessarily those of Good Karma Brands. There you go.
I like that one better.
Okay,
That was good.
Wally will edit that out in post production.
Yes. No. So like back to your question of what would make one person take this and one person take this. The three things we evaluate when we pick a Medicare plan is affordability, obviously number one, comfort with the plan, networks of doctors, 1-year contracts, policies, depending on that, and then our health. Health is huge. That determines if you're going to have major surgeries. Yes, you probably want a plan that's going to have less out of pocket. So that's what we decided. So you could have one spouse that is completely healthy and then one that is doing all this doctoring or has injections or has a major surgery coming up, and that could decipher which plan you take. So we do have people taking separate plans, and then typically a year or two later, we have that other spouse wanting to go on their other spouse's plan. So either it's to an advantage plan or either it's to a supplement. So there really isn't a right answer, but like you said before, that people do actually take the same plan just because this is how we're trained. We had the same insurance, we had the same rules, same copays, so it just made sense. But it's not always the case.
All right, we're talking with Matt and Sandy
That's-
Heiar
you
from
keep
Heiar
zooming
Insurance.
in.
Oh,
I
are
know.
you watching the TV?
I am.
Matt, you were getting serious there. So if you're watching it daily, I wish I had a single zoom in on you, and it would have been like that meme going on with Robert Redford when,
Oh,
he
yeah.
zoomed in when he was playing. I forgot what movie that was from. The Outdoorsman, when he's like a Grizzly Adams type character.
Yes.
Oh, yeah.
That would have been you right there.
The Grizzly Adams, huh?
No, he's got Mountain Man. I can't remember what movie that is. Somebody can send us a text at 887-9595. You know what?
Nice.
You know the meme if I saw it.
I know what you're talking
I
about.
never
but
realized it was Robert Redford until maybe 6 months ago. I'm like, oh, I didn't see the movie. You ever had any celebrities come through your office?
Well, I'm sitting right next to one.
Sandy.
I'm sitting next to two.
Sandy.
We have legends in our own community,
Oh,
like
yeah.
like Uncle Bill.
Yes.
So I'll tell you right now, Uncle Bill was the oldest person we ever signed up for Medicare.
Okay.
At 80 years old.
Okay, he never had it before that.
No, he was working and had group insurance. He didn't need it. He had Part A, but
Yeah, but obviously we keep people's business private. But Uncle Bill was always one of those guys where he gave her his full for the entire life.
and as long as you're working and you have that group health through a current employer, you don't have to take Medicare B out. So it worked well for him.
Because if he didn't have group insurance, the penalty would have been outrageous.
Oh yes.
Oh, really? So
Yeah, so not signing up for Part B, it's
Okay.
10% per year.
Okay.
So, just say 80, that's 15 years since he was eligible for Medicare. So he would have got charged 10% per year. That's 150% more for his Part B premium?
Okay. Why is that?
Because Part B is the one that costs money. Like this year, it costs $174.70. Next year is the 5.9% increase, which I was venting about last week. It's going to be $185, I believe, next year. So that is the one that costs money. That's the one the government starts taking from your Social Security or else bills you quarterly. So that's when the one they say, hey, we want our money. If you mess it up, you're gonna get penalized.
Well, and I think a lot of it is people wouldn't take Part B out until they're sick. And then just think what that's going to cost the government. So all insurances need the healthy and the unhealthy to balance the premiums out. And that's Medicare as well. It's like an insurance company. If you wait to take it out, people are going to take it out when they're very sick.
Sure.
And
So
they're not going to have health people offsetting that premium. And you know what the premium's going to
Yeah.
be for all those sick people on
so
there?
if they weren't taking it out that long, then they just were. What were they doing?
Hopefully not doctoring.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. So if they were doctoring, they were just. That's what I'm saying. You know, if people.
Just paying their office calls,
Okay.
and they'll take it out when they get sick or need
Okay.
a surgery.
Okay, and unless you were very extremely wealthy, probably that would be kind of hard, wouldn't it?
Yeah, we don't have a lot of self-insurers around here. That's
On purpose, anyway.
Yes.
Yeah.
It's
yes.
happened
No,
by
it's on purpose.
accident.
Yeah, on purpose.
But I mean, we always use the analogy, like you can't crash your car and then go try to get, auto insurance. It's the same with health insurance. This is why it is really crucial. And it's the worst part about Medicare is just how your mailbox blows up, especially for our fall babies who are turning 65 during this enrollment period. So they get double hit. They get even more mail, and it's very frustrating. I just had a card yesterday. Someone gave it to me, and it was like, we can pay $1,500 a year in groceries. Now groceries are coming in, not just over-the-counter items, and it's just, when is enough enough? I always tell people I'm worried about the health insurance. So when we evaluate these actual Advantage plans, the three things we look for: what am I paying monthly? Where can I go? Do I have to stay at network? Can I go out of network? And then what is the worst case scenario, meaning our maximum out of pocket? So finding that plan with the least out of pocket, where you're not paying a lot, and then also you can go in and out of network, that's the plan. That's my favorite plan. And when we go on the government website, in Dodge County, there's 38 plans next year. 38 Advantage plans, and there's no secret plan out there, because when you get these carriers that mail you something, they're going to show you their product, and that's great. It might be the perfect plan. It might be one of the companies that I promote, but at the same time, we want to make sure that it's right for you. So you want to look at all the plans, because a lot of the commercials say they say like 3 or 4 carriers, and they're the national carriers, right? The big dogs, and that's not always the best for us, or maybe not as many doctors take it in our area. So there's a lot more than just price point. We want to make sure that you could still go to your same doctor and you could travel, so a lot of your retirement and what you do in retirement, basically. I'll just keep looking if you're going to zoom in now.
Snowbird.
And see now you like this
Yes, like the zoom in.
Stop.
on the Daily Dodge TV.
I like it when it's zoomed out better.
You like the zoom out better? Okay, I'll leave it that way for the rest of the time. Then.
Yeah.
So I have a question. So if you're like a 1959 baby, this year, and it's an election year, what does your mailbox look like with cards that you're getting?
my
When do you start? Like, so when would like the companies start sending? This year, when would they start sending you cards and information in the mail?
on your
A year in advance.
on your 64th birthday.
On your 64th birthday, so for a year you're getting it, because I could imagine with all the political stuff you got, your mailbox is probably stacked with the stuff for plans and also political type stuff.
Yes, and then you get this ginormous book called Medicare and You,
Okay.
Medicare and Me,
Medicare and you.
Well, what's all in Medicare and You?
everything.
Okay.
So there's it talks about all different types of Medicare. It talks about cost plans, which we don't even have in our area. So if people are asking about certain things, they're like, well, this book said this. And I'm like, well, that's not relevant for us here, and it's just because it talks about everything. It's a national book, isn't it?
Yes.
So everybody gets that.
Everybody
and,
on Medicare
What
gets
percentage
that.
of people actually read it?
I got halfway through it. It's brutal, because it's just confusing, and I understand it, but at the same time, it's like, wow, someone that just doesn't understand Medicare and they're gonna read this and make a decision. That's tough.
That's why we have people like you, right?
Well, it will give the Medicare Advantage plans, and it'll say the range of premium, what the premium is, because it's different in different states. So it might say you might pay $0 to $45. So people are like, well, what is that? What is it for my area? Well, you can't get that out of
Well, doesn't not broken down that much.
for
It's just
states. No, and the same with drug plans. It'll give you a range of coverage, and it's really kind of redundant to me, right? I mean,
yeah.
You can go on the government website and put your zip code in and find out what's in your area easier than trying to look at that book.
So is that book something that they've just always done, and really is it really maybe outlived its value, or is there value to it if people get it for the first time and learn anything?
Well, there's so much that doesn't even apply to
Yeah.
them, but they're reading it and they think it applies to them. So that's why it's so confusing for people. So I'm like, if you want to bring it in, I'll show you what's going to work for our area. But there's so much stuff in there that they don't need to know about. But they think they need to know.
Yeah, you're right. Because I'm assuming if somebody, especially if they're new to it and they get this book, they're like, it's like studying for a test in college. You know, I'm gonna have to get I'm gonna need a doctorate to figure out what's going on here. It's, you know, just to kind of comprehend everything. Where that's why I'd be like, Sandy, Matt, you know, just tell me what I need to know.
You told me that after the show last week. You're like, yeah, when I come in, I'm just gonna be like, sign me up for something. Like, you know what I should do.
Yeah, that's what it'll be. It'll be like a 2-minute meeting. It'll be like, okay, Matt, Sandy.
We have a bonfire. Everyone brings in that whole big,
Yeah.
all the mail they've been getting for the last 6 months, and they have a whole suitcase. And I'm like, you can burn that.
Yeah.
We have all of that stuff right here.
Yeah. No, but I'll just be like, tell me what I need. You
Yeah.
know, there are people that are like that. That just say, tell me what I need, Matt. I trust you.
Yep, absolutely, and typically that's like when their spouse is already
Yeah.
on it, but yeah, I mean, or some people they're like, yeah, just you know what's best for me, and it's usually family friends, like
Sure.
they know, like I know their health obviously and stuff, so yeah, sometimes it's easy then, but I still want to educate you on it because no matter what you pick, someone's going to call you crazy. You're going to talk to your neighbor, you're going to talk to your brother, whoever it is, and they're going to be like, why would you do that? I did this. Because if you talk to anyone that's done Medicare, they did it the right way. Just ask them. They'll tell
My
you.
way is the best way to do it. You know,
Yeah.
Matt, you know.
And everyone's situation is different, and that's why we dwell on that. So, like, even those people like you that are saying, just sign me up with something, I still want you to understand what you got because that person's going to call you crazy, and then you're going to call me back, and you're going to be like,
Man, you told me this. Well, Ralph, 2 doors
Yes.
down, told me, no, that was totally wrong. He's like, I had to do this one, and it's going to save me all this money because he did it, and he used to have my plan. And
Ralph, huh?
Ralph, you know Ralph?
Yeah, oh, absolutely.
Ralph's
yeah.
the guy that when you're trying to, you know, do some work in your front yard, always will walk over and start talking to you.
Oh,
You know,
yes.
and just somehow Medicare and plans come up, and Ralph tells me I'm in the wrong plan, so I'm calling Matt.
We've had to correct some coffee circles at McDonald's before.
Have you really?
Oh, yeah.
I went up there with some of my clients.
Did you really?
Oh,
You walked
yeah.
over there and it's kind
And
of.
they say women do this coffee clutching and talk all the time, and bad information flies around. This was men. So I
So-
used to have to pop up there every so often because one of them would stray down and say, Sandy, this was a conversation today, you know, and I'm like, no, that is not true, you know. So then I'd pop up there and go in and say, okay, guys, sitting down with you. What questions do you have?
So
You
you'd
know?
walk in unannounced, like
Yes.
unannounced, just to kind of set the record straight.
Yes. I'm like, that conversation last week, guess what? Shouldn't have happened. Yeah,
That should be a new place for our seminars.
Yeah.
At McDonald's, yeah. But you know, it's funny. If you go in McDonald's early in the morning,
Yeah.
I don't know if you do, but there'll be a group of guys.
Yep.
There's more men there coffee clutching than ladies, but you might see a small table of
Yep.
ladies there as well. But it's just interesting when you see all the groups of guys. And so then when I went in and sat with, most of them were my clients, but there
Okay.
were some that were not. And so all the other people around are looking like, how come she's just talking to them,
Yeah,
you know,
they
and not
could
telling
come on
us
over,
stuff.
right?
I'm just like, call me.
No, and that's the case. I was at the YMCA this morning too, and there's a group. There's probably 25 people that were sitting in that front room after working out, and everybody's, you know, led by, you know, Jeff Lindy solving the world's problems over there. And I'm sure stuff like that comes up though. You're right, and it's like a he said, she said, you know, and you're really not sure. Again, everybody's plan is individual. So just as long as Ralph or Betty have something, you know, necessarily not going to work for Gertrude and Gladys, right?
Oh, I love
That's
these
right.
names.
I know.
Yeah. Do you have some Gladyses signed up?
Well, we do, yeah.
See, my daughter has the class in school after she's going to bring a baby home this weekend. Like, you know, like the electronic one.
Oh, yes.
And so if it's a boy, she's going to send me a gender reveal, finding out if it's a boy or a girl
my
today. If
goodness.
it's a boy, it's going to be Wade Jr. But if it's a girl, I suggested Gladys or like, you know, something, some I think Gladys, you know, it can't be Olivia the second.
No.
Sandy, how about
Could
Sandy?
be
Babies.
Cora.
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 I like Gladys, though.
That's an older name.
Is it? Cora?
Yeah. I mean, it's coming back, obviously. There's
How about Gertrude?
Gertrude,
Yeah.
baby Gertie.
Yeah.
I just hope the
Baby
thing's not.
Gertie.
I just hope the thing's not keeping me up all night. That's my biggest thing.
Well,
plugs.
that's
Did
going
you
to
ever?
be...
Have you taken? Did they have those kind of classes?
heck no.
No, where you take an electronic baby and
I did not take that, but it wasn't like, was it home ec? Like,
yeah, something like that.
Yeah, so yeah, I did not do that, but I heard stories about it, and yeah, it's tough. And then technology, right? Like they can like open the baby up and see like how long it cried and if
Yeah.
it was cuddled or whatever.
So they
And
know
if,
if you
no,
were
I
a
think
big-
it's connected to an app now, so they can know right away if you
Put it in the closet.
Yes, if you put it in the closet, you're like, yeah.
Do they know who's caring for that baby though? Like
No, I
if
think
your
you have to get a
daughter said,
babysitter.
I'm going out to the football game or
I
whatever.
think you just get a babysitter.
Yeah.
That wouldn't be me though. That'd be.
Wow.
Anyways,
For a whole weekend, huh?
Yeah. So sorry we got off the tangent. So I'm gonna be crabby on Monday when Rob Mealik sits here. If I'm being kept awake by a fake baby, you know, that'll age me, and I'll be calling you a couple of years early, being like, "Man, it's time."
Well, you never know. That's
You know,
good.
You know, it's we're talking to Matt and Sandy Heiar Insurance Senior Solutions. I still have a couple more minutes. If somebody does have a phone call, 920-885-4446 or 920-887-9595 is the text number here. We'll gladly take those and pass those along. Otherwise, just what's your phone number at the office if somebody wants to set up an appointment and they have questions that way?
Yeah, we're located at the Heritage Mall, so if you want to give us a call at 920-887-0580.
How long have you been at that location?
Oh, wow.
Forever?
Yeah, forever. I mean, I didn't start out. I started out.
Minivan?
I was a career
In a
agent.
minivan.
Oh,
I
yeah.
was a career agent. I had one company. And I would had to go to trainings and things. And one time I was at a training, and a different insurance agent from
Okay.
out of town said, "You're doing your clients a big disservice by not having more companies to offer." But they wouldn't let me, the company I worked for. They only let me sell them, and that was
Okay.
it. So I was offended, obviously. I'm like, well, I'm working just as hard as you, and I'm doing the best I can for my clients, and thought I was doing everything right. Then I decided, you know what? I do need other companies. I do need other options. Medicare Advantage was not an
Yeah.
option at that
Yep.
time, but supplements were. So then I left that company and went to a different one that allowed me to have multiple companies.
And so then how do you go about, like you said, I think we talked a little bit about this last week, but then how do you get companies under your umbrella, like say at Heiar Insurance? How do you get companies under your umbrella, and how does that work now compared to back then?
You got a contract. You got a contract with every company. You want to talk about that company, you have to contract with them.
Do they usually contact you?
No, I go through a field marketing organization. So they have all the companies there, and you just go through them, and they contract you. Sure, you give them a little bit, but that way you have options to everything out there.
So then what when you look at, because we talked about there's a million different companies out there right now.
Oh, yeah.
What do you look for in a company to say, hey, we'll work with this company for our people?
Customer service, quality, how many stars are they? You know, how they handle people and agents.
Sure.
You know, some of them don't want anything to do with you. Where their call centers are they in the United States?
Yep.
Or am I calling to Colombia?
Longevity, you know, like making sure. And then, like, obviously we like working with local companies too, you know, because if our clients are calling there, you know, they are calling, you know, local, and that's huge too. But yeah, and just longevity is huge though. You know, we want to make sure it's an A-rated company and they've been around for a while. So, because you're going to use this insurance, you know, it's not like homeowners. So we want to make sure if you're going to get a letter, you're going to get a bill, you know, or you're going to get an EOB and you're going to have questions, we have our go-to people with these companies. And same with that field marketing organization. They help out a lot too with enrollments and stuff. So, but you just come to us, you know, and that's why we like being a local advocate for you. You know, we will deal with that. We'll call the insurance company. You call us.
Yeah, we usually don't contract with a company that's very new. You know, if they've been selling Medicare supplements for quite a few years, those are the companies we like to go to, not the new ones, because the new ones can come in with the introductory offer. So you have it for
Sure.
a year, you
It's
get them
cheaper.
on it,
It's
and
cheaper.
then it doubles.
Does
you
that
know?
happen? So there's like an introductory. Is that for new companies always have introductory offers, and you have to?
Well, they don't say that,
Yeah.
but the newer companies can come in way lower than the companies that have been around for 10 years.
Why is that?
Well, they're trying to undercut the market,
Okay.
you know, and it's just, you know, so they'll have way low introductory rates and super huge like household discounts because they want to get your spouse too on it. And then we don't have a history of increases, so we don't know them. And then all of a sudden, boom, they start going up. And we just know this by people coming in saying, oh, yeah, I signed up with them. I was like, oh, yeah, 5 years ago, they really came in strong. And like one of them, we just got a letter that they're no longer being sold in the state of Wisconsin. So it's like, oh, well, they're gone now.
So there aren't limits. For example, like alcohol. We just had Fox Brothers Piggly Wiggly yesterday. You know, lowest legal limit on wine. So there's not like a lowest legal limit on costs for like drug plans and things like that, where people can come in low and then it's all free market, free enterprise.
No matter where you go,
Yeah.
the price that we're showing you is going to be the price across the street.
Okay.
So it's just standard. It's based on age, gender, and zip code.
Okay.
Yeah,
So
even if you do it online without an agent, you might as well have an agent because
Sure.
you're not paying any more to have that agent.
absolutely not. So we like being advocates, and you will have questions, and that's why people are like, well, I don't want to bother you. It's like, no, please. I would much rather talk to you for 2 minutes and, discuss the situation instead of that phone call saying, I did this. And it's like, oh,
I got something in the mail,
Yeah.
or somebody called me,
Yeah,
and
and
I
it's
gave them my
like-
Medicare number. I'm like, no.
and anything is fixable, but it's just, it's much more difficult to fix it, rather than just let's sum this up in 2 minutes quick before we do something, and then we're good to go. I don't want you going out of network or doing some procedure that you thought was covered and it's not. We don't like thinking. Thinking isn't knowing.
Yeah, we don't have a lot of time left, but I'm sure that a whole show probably you could do on. People probably also do get phone calls from the scammers this time of year.
Absolutely.
Trying to, present themselves as somebody who they aren't and trying to steal some of your benefits and things like that.
Yep, absolutely. And it's just scammers, and not even scammers, just like, like agents that have no conscience, and they're like, yep, yeah, your doctor takes this, perfect. And they sign them up and you'll never hear from them again. And it's all about numbers. They're at a call center somewhere and it's all about numbers because they have 7 weeks to sign you up.
And just the accessibility right now to people's information when it comes to those 1959 babies, as you mentioned, you can find phone numbers, contact information, and addresses obviously are kind of public record, aren't they? Where they can just mail stuff out. Or how do they end up with the addresses to know that I'm a few years away from having to do this? How do they figure out who to mail stuff to?
I used to buy lists.
Yeah, you used to buy lists.
Yes.
Data is valuable, and data is sold all the time. So not personal data,
Yeah.
but like it's so funny. We used to have the phone book.
Yeah.
I knew your address. I knew
Your
your phone number.
spouses, your kids,
Yes.
where your kids were born.
Yes.
You used to have anniversaries. Then it'd be like, like now it'd be like Wade and Crystal Bates. Parentheses would say like 2007.
Yep.
Claire, Julia, Olivia. It's amazing how times have changed because it used to be everything.
No, I agree, and that's why they're gonna find you. That's fine with that and stuff, but it's just we don't give out our Medicare number. We don't give out Social Security number. So why would you give out your Medicare number? And it's things like that where just we have to be vigilant, and and if it's too good to be true, it usually is.
Sure.
That's right.
I know.
In
I feel
anything,
I feel like a
not
broken
just
record.
insurance.
No, but it is because sometimes you get the phone call though, and it's like somebody they sound like they know what they're talking about, and you think, oh, maybe this is legit. Maybe it is somebody that's going. Maybe they don't sound like a scammer, if you will. And it's and then next thing you know, you just released a little bit of information, and then you have a lot of work to clean up, right?
Oh yeah. Yeah,
I did a
it's
CE class online, and you know what one of the questions was? It said that insurance agents are like used car salesmen.
Okay.
And I'm like,
Wow.
what? Yeah, they were really rating us low because some agents will do anything to get that sale because it's commission only. So I get it, but you also have to have some integrity and be good to people,
Well, yeah.
especially.
in a small
When,
town.
yeah, but when you're on the phone calling in all different states, I don't think they're as loyal to their commitment of being an
that's
insurance
why
agent.
being local is important. And Heiar Insurance is here. We know right where your office is. We know where Matt. You can look at Matt on daily.tv right now. Sandy, we get the luxury of you coming in maybe once every month or so to talk to you. And again, it's an important time of year. We're heading down the home stretch for getting signed up. I guess tell us again everything people need to know before December 7th.
Yeah, well, just get in your drug plans. Get a appointment scheduled. If you want to review your insurance, if you have a Medicare supplement and you love it and you don't have bills, there are supplements out there with the same benefits, if not more, and we can get them at a lower rate if we answer some health questions. And these companies are flying through underwriting right now because 'tis the season. So if you want to, kind of look into that, absolutely just give us a call at 920-887-0580.
Can we try to squeeze in one quick call?
Yeah.
Hey, Wally, we're going to try and get the one quick call in if you can. Wally, good morning.
Well, good morning. I think we seniors got more problems with what drugstore goes. So many of them are closing.
The drugstores?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, just 5 of them close again. And
around
then,
here?
yes.
Oh, do you have a question for Matt or Sandy?
Well, I was wondering, we always talk about, all those drug programs, but actually the seniors have a bigger problem, I think, even finding a drugstore to go to near to them or getting their medicine. A lot of drugstores don't even have your medicine.
All right, thank you
Sure.
very much for the phone call.
Yes.
Then-
Yeah.
So I
Then
think
many
that's
times,
becoming a
you
big
know-
problem for senior citizens,
Thanks.
too.
There's mail order that people
Yep,
can do if
yep.
they don't have a pharmacy, real close to them, which a lot of people will do now.
All right, again, Matt, how do people, if they want to make an appointment, Sandy, if they want to make an appointment for you, how do they get in touch with you?
Well, do I give my cell? No. 920-887-0580 is the office number. I've been calling from my cell and doing work behind the scenes for the drug plans and things. That's why I said, do I give my cell? I've given it out a lot lately.
All right, thank you so much. Again, important time of the year, and appreciate Matt and Sandy Heiar from Heiar Insurance Senior Solutions here on 95.3 WBEV and Daily Dodge TV. Have yourself a great weekend, everybody.